Did you know there are Buddhist secrets that can completely transform your health and bring balance? Even after 70 or 80 years of age, few people know these simple practices. But today you'll discover how they can change your life. These 5 teachings are so valuable that over the centuries they have been passed down from generation to generation as true keys to a healthier and more balanced life. And the most amazing part? They are much more accessible than you might imagine. But before revealing what these teachings are, let me show you how they connect to the challenges many people face at this stage of life, and why so many experts consider them essential. Trust me, you'll want to watch until the end. Mindful acceptance. Accepting aging is like looking at the mirror of life with serenity. In Buddhism, it doesn't mean giving up, but understanding that the transformations of the body and mind are as natural as the changing seasons. Imagine someone at 70 years old deciding to stop lamenting the agility they've lost and instead starts appreciating calm mornings, listening to birdsong. A shift in perspective doesn't eliminate challenges, but it reduces the emotional weight they carry. After all, it's the attachment to the past that often turns the timeline of life into an internal battlefield. Mindful acceptance isn't weakness. It's proof of strength, a choice for peace. Rather than fighting the inevitable, Buddhist practice suggests seeing limitations as opportunities for reflection. A walk that used to be brisk can now become a moment of deep connection with the present, feeling each step. Have you noticed how, during moments of pause, small details come to life? This ability to live in the now is a gift that many overlook. Thus, accepting aging mindfully is not losing. It's gaining another way of perceiving life. Perhaps instead of trying to row against the tide, the idea is to enjoy the journey in the boat, adjusting the sails to match the wind. What if you could transform every difficulty into a lesson? Mindful acceptance teaches that resisting the changes of the body creates tension, while acceptance brings relief. Instead of focusing on what's been lost, why not notice what can still be nurtured? An elderly person who discovers the joy of painting or reading poetry finds unexpected delight. These activities, simple yet profound, are little reminders that life, even at new rhythms, can still be full. And speaking of fullness, there's an interesting lesson about where to place our focus when changes become inevitable. Shift in focus. When the body no longer responds as it once did, many people instinctively lament. But Buddhism proposes something bold. Shift the focus to what truly matters. It's not about ignoring physical limitations, but seeing beyond them, concentrating on inner growth and conscious actions. Imagine someone who has always loved sports and, upon facing the limitations of age, finds a new purpose in practicing meditation or sharing experiences with younger generations. This change in perspective from outward to inward transforms challenges into opportunities. After all, the essence of life lies not in what we do, but in how we live. Shifting from external goals to internal achievements is an act of courage. A practical example is beginning to value small actions that might have gone unnoticed before. A thoughtfully prepared breakfast or a deep conversation with a friend can become sources of immense satisfaction. This shift in perspective is liberating because it frees us from the pressure to compete with others or even with our past selves. It's like transitioning from a game where the goal is to win to one where the aim is simply to play well. The serenity this brings not only reduces stress, but also improves the qualities of life. And if these 2 teachings are already inspiring you, imagine what's still to come. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the channel now so you can continue learning these Buddhist secrets to transform your health and balance. Let's move forward. Quality over quantity. Buddhist wisdom teaches that it's not the intensity of activities, but the quality of attention given to them that defines the experience. Walking slowly through a garden Taking in the scent of flowers and the sound of leaves rustling in the wind can be more enriching than a long, unfocused run. Small actions carried out with full awareness become precious moments. Imagine someone who, despite physical limitations, dedicates their mornings to watching the sunrise. This simple practice, repeated with mindfulness, creates a peace that no marathon could bring. The key lies in slowing down and noticing what's already within reach. For someone who feels life has lost its sparkle, a good start might be creating small, conscious rituals, like preparing a cup of tea slowly, savoring its aroma and the warmth in your hands. This change in pace is not only relaxing, but also a way to teach the mind that there's no need to always rush to feel alive. Isn't it ironic how we often only stop to admire the journey when haste leaves us behind? When you shift from quantity to quality, a new universe opens up. Every gesture, no matter how small, takes on greater meaning. Imagine turning a brief conversation into a genuine moment of connection, listening attentively and responding from the heart. This presence changes everything, and by adjusting your focus in this way, it becomes natural to see life's changes not as threats, but as invitations to adapt wisely. Adaptation with wisdom. Life never stops changing, and learning to flow with these changes is an art that Buddhism teaches with mastery. When we accept transformations instead of resisting them, we realize that every new phase brings its own beauty and unique challenges. Think of someone who used to be extremely active but now discovers the pleasure of more introspective activities like gardening or embroidery. This acceptance calms the mind, reduces stress, and surprisingly, can even improve physical health. After all, the body and mind are deeply connected, and a serene mind reflects in a healthier body. Adapting to life with wisdom doesn't mean giving up, but adjusting your sails to match the wind that blows. For those facing sudden changes, like a loss of mobility or new health challenges, the first step can be finding alternatives. If climbing mountains was once a favorite hobby, how about exploring books on adventures or travel instead? If cooking has become more difficult, perhaps it's time to experiment with simpler but equally delicious recipes. The key lies in finding possibilities where there once seemed to be barriers. By embracing this adaptive wisdom, we gain a new perspective. Changes aren't enemies, but allies in learning. Every successful adaptation is a lesson that strengthens the mind and spirit. More than that, it prepares us for the next phases with less resistance and more acceptance. And when we look at ourselves with this new vision, we begin to understand that by accepting limitations, we develop something even more powerful: compassion for ourselves. Compassion for yourself. Aging gracefully requires something essential: treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a dear friend. Buddhism teaches us that recognizing our limitations isn't a sign of weakness, but a profound act of wisdom. Think of the last time you criticized yourself for not being able to do something as you did years ago. What if instead you told yourself, "It's okay, you did the best you could"? This simple gesture of self-compassion transforms a frustrating situation into a moment of self-acceptance. Self-compassion doesn't mean complacency, but understanding that every phase of life has its own demands and possibilities. A powerful example is adapting physical exercises to match your current abilities. If lifting weights at the gym is no longer an option, how about trying gentle yoga or stretches at home? Beyond keeping the body active, these practices strengthen the connection between mind and body, bringing a sense of balance. It's proof that taking care of yourself doesn't have to be complicated. Just start with small steps and lots of care. When we learn to look at ourselves with kindness, we start to see aging differently. It stops being a burden and becomes a natural process, filled with lessons and new opportunities. This change in perspective allows us to celebrate what we still are instead of lamenting what we no longer are. Now that you know these teachings, think about how your life could change if you stopped fighting against transformations and started embracing them. Imagine turning each day into an opportunity for growth, joy, and connection with the present. Isn't that inspiring? Share in the comments which teaching resonated with you the most and how you plan to apply it. And before you go, did you know that the last digit of your birth year can reveal something surprising about your personality and destiny? Click now on the video appearing on your screen to discover the hidden meaning that might leave you shocked. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning more about health, balance, and mysteries like this.